But
Ladies and gentlemen, it is another episode of the Chug Life podcast. I have my boy with me, Nick. We're going to be talking about some shit. Nick, what's up with you?
what's up with it, Yer? Appreciate you for having me once again. Always a good time talking to you, bro.
For sure. And so today we're going to be talking about the Charlie Kirk shooting. What do you know about that, Nick?
So I did see like the act of what happened, uh, the official video that someone took a POV of, and I have seen his content over the course of the couple of years that I've like come across it from like during the running of Trump from what was it,
about history.
2020,
Mm.
and then that was yeah, it's 2020, wasn't it? Yeah,
I mean, honestly, it's all been a blur, dude.
I know. But yeah, and then this past running where he won again uh, for being the 47th president this past year. So I've seen his content come on and off my page, and things I thought was agreeable, and some things that were not agreeable that he said as far as political standing. But as far as like before the conversation fully starts, I don't agree with just because you don't see someone eye to eye. That doesn't mean that other person should die. In all honesty, to me, if
Yeah,
they
as
haven't
a
committed,
whole, I mean, political assassinations are very fucked up, dude. I'm not with it. I think it's extremely destabilizing. It's fucked up. We've let much more fucked up people live, and it's harmless to have different opinions. And granted, Nazis, yeah, different story. All right, outright fucking, how Hitler motherfuckers, different story.
yeah,
But
but that's a person that's like wanting that supported mass genocide. That's
like yeah,
like,
it's kind of like, to what extent do you stand for people that are cutting free speech, right? Like if
mm,
you're not gonna, help defend my freedom of speech, then I guess you also probably shouldn't have a freedom of speech. If that's how you're thinking about things. And this is kind of, we're going into this idea, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a very packed half hour or so for you guys. So we're going to be jumping into a lot of really wild conspiracies today. I'm just going to let you all know ahead of time. It is very loaded. The sphere is hot with what happened. There's a lot of different finger pointing going on, and everybody has their own opinion. And I kind of just wanted to present some things that I myself found wrong with the whole event. It's I find it very weird how Trump reacted to it. Did you ever see that when they asked him? It was like in the White House lawn. They're like, "Hey, how did you feel after Charlie Kirk died?" Have you seen that video?
yeah, we're like he said at this point, I don't care, or something like that.
Yeah, bro. He started talking about the ballroom getting built, dude. Like just
That
nothing. Like homie just got killed. The day before, I think it was, and just man didn't even. I granted, listen, it doesn't say that Charlie didn't mean anything to the MAGA movement, or let's even go as far as saying to Trump himself. But I think Trump's brain is so fried at this point, bro. Like somebody could be like, hey, the day after Melania's death, hey, how you feeling? So he'd be like, oh, it's terribly sad, and then go right into some shit, very Trumpian. That's just his brain functions like, if you see this guy talk and if you listen to him talk for more than 30 minutes, you realize very quickly that he bounces a lot. And it's very rare that this stuff makes sense. You just kind of like sit through your grandpa rambling. And, it's not Biden esque. Biden spoke very slowly. In my opinion, he spoke very eloquently. but he spoke slowly in order for him to be able to control his stutter more. I started realizing that's how he was able to kind of just combat it. And it's very weird to now like sit here and listen to Trump just ramble for fucking 20 minutes about windmills, dude. I'm like, what in the fuck did windmills do to you, bro? Like, did windmills kill your whole second family or something? Like, is that why your wives have previously died? Like, what's happening here, man? Point, where did the windmills touch you, Donald?
Bro.
Like, so, now I'm injecting a little bit of humor into the situation, ladies and gentlemen, but it's mostly because the situation is so grim, and the prospects of everything as a whole when it relates to this investigation, this event, Charlie Kirk's death, is surrounded by so many questions and so much, weird shit. You know, a lot of stuff is starting to not add up. And I want to open it up today. I'm going to give Candace Owens here a second to be able to share her thought on it kind of relates to what we're going to be talking about after this. But just to open it up and let you know how weird we're going to be getting with this.
There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood. There's no blood from the back. There is no blood. So I think a lot of people were wondering whether or not that bullet pierced and went out to the back. I think I vaguely even remember, and Skylar, you can maybe live look this up, but like I thought the feds were saying they were looking for a bullet at some point, which is now very alarming to me. I don't understand that. How could they have been looking for a bullet? Because if I'm not seeing, and there isn't, I'm telling you, what happens in the front is not what happens in the back at all. If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that? The only thing that could make sense, if what they're saying is true and that person took the shot from the place that they are saying that individual took the shot from, it would suggest that it was inside of Charlie, right?
So the reason why this is going to be the starting point here to our conversation is I kind of want to just familiarize everybody with the general prospect that from the jump, you know, at the start of it all, shit don't make sense. Okay? So I want to hearken everybody back to the first video that you would have seen coming out of the shooting, which would have been the most gruesome videos, would have been the close-up shot. I believe, you know, it's 5 or so feet from Charlie, where this video comes from on his right side, and you can see the carotid artery, quote unquote, getting split and just gushing blood out of his left side, right where he's sitting. So I want to give everybody the opportunity to ingest this map, because this is going to be the start to a lot of shit that doesn't make sense, and it just continues to not make sense. So Hall of Flags down here on this point is where he is, and the shot, quote unquote, would have been somewhere in this angle. So that is the shot that is said to be, quote unquote, 200 yards or 200 feet, I think is what it is. It's about 137 yards is what we have laid out by one of the guys that did some of the distance mapping on this. The reason why this is a good map, in my opinion, because it's going to give you a really good idea of how feasible these shots can be from these distances, but also how much easier it would be from literally anywhere else. Just consider that off the jump, we know what the shooter who's been apprehended, we're going to call him Tyler because that's his first name, We know that the rifle is chambered in a 30-06, which the exit wound pattern tends to be about palm size or bigger. And the round force on this, is you'll see in some of the other evidence, I'm going to show you guys some of the other tests that have been done by ballistic guys. It's absolutely brutal. The feet per second, the sheer brutal, penetration of it is it's nuts. It slices straight through. All right. Now, it's going to take a huge chunk, and depending in certain spots, it can absolutely decapitate a person. These evidences, these claims, go as far back as World War II when we used them against the Japanese, against the Germans. So it's been done. There's good evidence on this stuff. It's a powerful round. But here is the problem. If you are shooting at a direct angle like that, okay, let's even say, let me just suggest he's on the far left of this building, the far most side, so it's going to be the most range. That would be closer, let's say we're doing 160 yards even, or pushing the quote-unquote alleged distance, which is 200 feet, which still questionable, okay? You're shooting this, and that quote-unquote entry wound, which is what they're saying is what we see on the video. That's what the government has alleged. That's what that is, which doesn't make sense because of what Candace just said. Candace is a very close friend with Charlie, and they pretty much were, I would suggest, closer than friends, just from seeing some of these photos. But we're not going to go there. We're not digging into those conspiracies. We're going to stick to some of the stuff that is important. So this shot that I believe that happened would have been from the right side. So it would have been from this area here, and that is why we would see that huge gash from his left side, because the entry is on the right side of his neck. So, to make matters a little bit weirder, we're going to continue going into the whole bullshit of what they're telling us, right? And so we have the whole inscriptions that were put on the rounds. And here's the thing. Engraving rounds is very difficult. All right? Very, very difficult. You need machinery for that. You can't do it by hand. It's not going to happen. Now, these inscriptions specifically are even more questionable, because how are you going to fit those into a 30-06 onto the side of that round? It's very, very long. Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. That's incredibly fucking long. It's not happening. All right? If you read this, you are gay, LMAO. Not fucking happening. All right? Now, here's the other thing. This is a college student. 22-year-old college student. I'm going to assume broke as shit. All right? This man does not have bullet engraving machinery. Now, maybe he sat there fucking engraving this shit with a little fucking, I don't know, some kind of special knife. I don't know if that's possible. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's super fucking suspicious.
I will say that there are, like, for the artistic people out there that buy the little hand Dremels to engrave stuff by hand. I don't know how professional the engraving looked, as if it was stamped or if it was handmade.
Yeah,
but,
we haven't seen them.
Right.
That's the other thing. There's no photographic evidence for the engravings either.
So but if it looks handmade, there are hand Dremel, like small cheap hand Dremels you can order online that
Yeah.
you can get.
It's highly, highly questionable shit. But here is the video of him running. So we're going to see him come from the left side top. So on the back side of this building right here where my cursor is, he's going to come across. Haul ass. And now this is just kind of part of the whole going along with the progression. This is where he's going to jump off and just absolutely bust his ass. It's going to be absolutely brutal. Now, here's the thing. There ain't no fucking rifle there. So, in the messages, he says, oh, I left my rifle. They're going to be so mad that I left my rifle, blah, 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 blah. But there's another rifle that's found. So, let's just keep that in mind, that Skid went through the planning to allegedly have 2 rifles stashed. So, now, my big question mainly relies on the ballistics. The ballistics and the idea that Kirk's neck wasn't severed almost entirely by that round. I believe that the round was smaller, subsonic, maybe a 5.56. Some people are suggesting a pistol round, an 8mm, which it's possible. But I'm going to show you guys some other ballistic tests and let you guys decide.
All right, so now we're going to throw it in about a 10% slow-mo for you. This is going to look super cool. Now, what happens...
As you can see, okay,
for you, this is going to...
the sheer explosive impact of this round is going to quite literally, and this is a headshot. Basically, the round shoots just above the eye socket on this. So it penetrates the skull. This isn't the neck. Sure, you have less stuff to be able to do that kind of explosive effect, but you still have the spine. So I think it would have severed his neck if that round were a 30-06 and came in from the side, or sorry, it came in from the front even, it would have absolutely decapitated him. But here's the thing. We know it's not a graze. Okay? That gash, I don't know, man. I don't know if, like, you see that gash, bro, and you start thinking that that's an actual exit wound. My mind doesn't immediately go to, oh, maybe it's a graze, you know, like a Trumpian type thing. It hit the artery, so it's going to be bleeding a lot more. Maybe. Hey, at the end of the day, I just want to know what the fuck happened, because they are just burying all of the fucking information. And they're going through every means to censor people, make this guy a martyr, have him a day of remembrance, get people fired if they're not fucking, you know, crying their eyes out over this shit. They are censoring free speech over this, ladies and gentlemen. So this is something you should be curious about. And so I ended up going down the rabbit hole of trying to figure all this shit out, get some information about why I'm kind of leaning the way I am. And I landed on this video, well, the watermelon video. And this is pretty good test for the reaction of a head. But considering we just saw about as close to that as one would get, I just kind of wanted to show you guys this for fun, just to solidify
what's watermelon
that.
and what's brain blood. Right out the back.
Yeah.
Completely unstopped, straight through.
Filled the whole frame.
Now, as some folks will know from shooting guns, owning guns, looking at guns, knowing about guns, bullets have a reaction when they hit tissue. They'll expand, or in some cases, if they are a very penetrative round, they'll just keep going. But in all cases, the exit wounds tend to be very similar. The difference is the damage that is done in the interior as the bullet is passing through. It basically makes it, to some cases, it could just be a straight, clean pass through and you may survive. Now, different situations tend to be, much more, you're likely going to die, per se, if it actually strikes something. Because then again, it is a very brutal slash of a knife. Hot knife. Now, these videos, they'd gone back to the general idea of his travel. And his travel was incredibly extensive the day. He walked a lot of that path straight through, and he ended up essentially in this is what the government has said. He walked through a railing to get upstairs, and that's how he got access. And I just find it incredibly interesting that he's got his rifle this whole time, right? Quote unquote. He's walking through all of this area this whole time, and nobody says anything. Nobody sees anything. It just gives me the creeps to consider how much is being hidden. Like, why won't they tell us this? They have the guy. Okay? Shit. Sure, it's got his trial, whatever. But fuck, you got him dead to rights. Fingerprint on the bullets, fingerprint on the gun. Done. All right, that's it. He killed your guy, bro. He's going on the chair. He's absolutely going on the fucking chair. But why not release what actually is happening? Why not say, this is what came out of the camera that was taken out of the tent. This is why it was removed. This is why the area was fucked with and cleaned up as fast as it was, because we had him dead to rights. We didn't need to look for the bullet. We don't need to do ballistics. It's fine. We have him. He admitted it. Look at the texts. Nick, have you had a chance to see these texts?
I have not.
Dude, they're fucking hilarious. All right, I'm not gonna hit on them today, because it's just the weirdest shit. But for anybody who is following my train of thought here, and you've got some questions to this, check out that text message exchange between the alleged shooter and his roommate/lover. It is the weirdest shit. They've released multiple, and each and every one sounds crazier than the one before. It's just fucking nuts. But to add on to kind of my train of thought here, and just, I'm going to continue on this very quickly because we're getting close on time. There's a lot of stuff that happened in the last week of Charlie's life that I kind of just want to talk about really quickly. And that's the fact that he was starting to backpedal on his previous stance with Israel. And he was starting to ask questions about Gaza. And so I want to show you guys this video. It's got some very interesting tidbits of information.
Of course, it was wedged between the two giant Israeli bodyguards the whole way.
If you want security, the Israelis know what they're doing.
Exactly. So,
if you want security, the Israelis know what they're doing. So it would be safe to say that the guys that were contracted that day were Israeli security. And now you could say, well, maybe that's his way of showing support. Maybe, he was tight with them. Netanyahu has said that he talked to him every day. It's like his son, blah, 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 blah. Sure. But here's the shit, right? If you didn't kill a guy, right? If everybody's saying, oh, you killed the guy, would you come out with a 2-minute long video saying, I didn't kill this guy? There's no way. I love that dude. I invited him to Israel. That's what Netanyahu said. They were pals. I wouldn't kill them. It is just weird that along this whole idea, we still don't know how that bullet would have came in from the side. Unless...
Great. See that white flash?
This is the most interesting video out of the bunch, in my opinion.
Now, if we go to this version, you can see it.
Great.
Pay attention here.
Great.
See that white flash? Let me zoom in. Just to be clear. That's what we're talking about. You may not even be able to see this on your phone. That flash right there, if I zoom back out, pay attention. And hear the...
Do you see it?
Honestly, I cannot.
Timing. If this is filming at 60 frames per second...
So, that is fucking crazy.
That flash right there, if I zoom back out...
There is a flash there. You can absolutely see a little flash of light.
That flash right there, if I zoom back out, pay attention. And hear the time.
Granted, I am on my phone.
Yeah.
If this is filming at
But,
60 frames per...
I cannot see anything at the moment.
Yeah, so this guy's alleging that the shooter came from the side. As you guys can see, this would make more sense, right? We have an exit wound that's approximately right here on my cursor. This is where the area where that exit wound's going to be. Now, as you guys remember, Candace said there was no blood on the back of his body. There was no blood, nothing on the back of his neck. So how does that bullet make that turn? Right?
Right.
You're shooting from the front, sure, at an angle. But here's the thing. If you're shooting at that angle, and let's say that is the entry wound, because that's the story the government's cooking with, then that would mean that that bullet continued going through this crowd. We would have another injured bystander. We would have a window with a bullet through it. One of these other guys here, matter of fact, this guy right here on my cursor would have been shot. Or this guy, the security guy behind him. Just because if that's the entry wound right here, and this is general angle, okay? The round is coming more so this area. I believe it would be coming like just like this, following across the street, the screen like that. But because I don't believe we're looking at the POV of what the shooter was looking, because he's more front. We're on the far right here. So it just, there's a lot of room here for interpretation that doesn't make sense for the federal government. You know, the same federal government who's tagged down everything, clamped down everything. You don't know shit from fuck. But there's all of this leeway to everything. Now, we're going to talk about some of his biggest haters, in my opinion. Now, Nick Fuentes is the biggest sack of shit in the far right. He is a part of the Groypers. There have been multiple Groypers, and some folks think Tyler was a Groyper. here is where it gets really questionable. Nick recently did a complete flip-flop. He went from speaking about how the Israelis could have had something to do with this, how it's highly questionable. There is some evidence here. This is really weird. And then suddenly, he turns to this.
She's just stupid and defines low IQ anti-Semitism. I used to think it didn't exist.
Now, I'm not going to give him more than that. But it gives you an idea of the flip-flop from pretty much being on board with everything and anything Kanye West was saying. This is a guy who loves him. Okay, so he doesn't have a problem with Nazis. He doesn't have a problem with the uber far right nationalist parties, that kind of shit. So it's just very interesting. And now he's kind of covering for Mossad. He's kind of covering for the Israelis. The people he was shit talking a few weeks ago. Now, not only is it incredibly weird that you have the president of Israel, you have our president, Congress, you have all of this kind of uproar. And it's not even been a week before these people were using his death to achieve their means. So there was something to gain from this at the end for them. People have been hurt by his death, but they're also using his death to hurt more people. And just kind of makes you really think if they cared about him, if they wanted his legacy to actually thrive and survive, and maybe be more than just podcasting, wouldn't they try to actually maybe help the country in his name? You know, pass some fat bills. Now that would do stuff for the country in his name. Now I'd be down for that. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. You could do it in fucking Bob Seger's name, bro. All I care. Just help the damn people. Help the people that need it. Meanwhile, Trump is pandering to his billionaire friends. And everybody else gets to rot. Now,
Well,
there is a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
I was say my bad. I wanted to add one thing. They are holding a commemorative, I think, gathering. There's going to be a lot of political leaders and high value standing people in Phoenix this Sunday.
Want to bet Trump don't go?
Well, he said he's supposed to go, but they've already found like people placing bombs around certain areas where leaders are supposed to be at. And
damn.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy work.
But stay tuned after this week's Sunday to see what happens.
For sure. So there's one last video before I send you all off. Just want to kind of send my point further. All right. Check this out. Okay. Now, I'm going to wind that back and give this a little bit of volume.
They're sure they got the right guy. Mr. Tyler confessed to his father that he did this to Mr. Kirk from the roof of the Luzie Center. How comes the projectile appears to be coming from his back right side? Shortly after, you see that flash of light in that window. The project...
Now, remember, this is not the first time we've heard about that flash in the window. Okay? So it's going to continue on.
Seems to be flying between the black shirt and white shirt guys. So something like this. This here is Mr. Black Shirt Guy, and this is Mr. White Shirt Guy. And the distance between Mr. White Shirt Guy and Mr. Kirk is much longer than you would expect by viewing this picture. Focus on this area, flash of light, impact. Look at the hands of the guy with the white shirt. Was it a signal? The same time the guy with the white hat is doing this, and the guy with the black shirt is also doing some kind of stuff. Coincidentally, this place looks like this candlestick somehow.
Alright. I know it took a fucking turn. Okay? It took a fucking turn. We ended it up on anti-Semitism really fucking quickly. But just some food for thought that it's a repetition. And there's some weird shit going on. And I just felt like you guys should know. So, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Alright? I'm gonna get that out there. Shit's fucked up. Dude ain't deserve to die. I've had some time to, kind of think about what my response should be to this. And it's just that simple. You don't deserve to die for your beliefs. It's a long, age-old belief, I know. But, I think it still rings true in our country especially. But here's the thing. People are dying for their beliefs. People are dying for who they are. Just recently, black man was hanged in Mississippi. And I just want to give a spotlight to this because he's deserving of it. And he wasn't the only man that was hanged. So, just to talk about this man really quickly. He was hanged in Mississippi. He was homeless. And they said that it was suicide. Now, I don't know of any young black man that is going to hang themselves off a fucking tree. Alright? Just don't know it. Now, here's the shit. Same fucking state had another homeless man, Corey Zukatis, who also, quote-unquote, hanged himself off a fucking tree. So, there's some weird shit going on against homeless people, man. Just recently, there was a mass shooting at a homeless encampment. This is after Brian Kilmeade's going on Fox News saying we should kill all of these people. They're gross, whatever the hell. So, listen, man. Folks are folks, bro. It doesn't matter. Everybody bleeds the same way. Don't be a piece of shit. Especially to motherfuckers that don't have shit like that. It's just fucked up. But, Nick, I know you got some shit to do. So, thank you for stopping by today. Thank you for hanging out with us. And everybody, make sure you go and check out Nick's streams. Nick, you want to go ahead and plug your stuff real quick?
Appreciate you. Mainly just the social media presence on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram at Allforquan, ALLFORQUAN. And variety streamer, just like have a conversation, play video games, have fun. But save the serious talks with my man Mike right here on his podcast. Yeah. Enjoying our time.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by, bro. You have a good one, man. And you guys stay safe out there. Okay. Thank you guys for hanging out. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that follow button. Go ahead and rate this shit, review it, whatever the hell. Let us know what you think. You gonna need to talk your shit, go ahead and comment, talk your shit. I'm gonna talk my shit right back at you. Just be prepared for that. And you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you next time. This is another episode of the Chug Life Podcast.